Let's move on back now to that ECGC function, and the President of India is speaking. Let's listen in.
Eurozone crisis, very recently held Brexit, influx of refugees leading to migrants crisis, social churn, and a high level of bankruptcies at the level of the states. The risk landscape has turned adverse, with non-trade barriers being progressively imposed by trading nations. The dissipation of trust between trading partners has necessitated a real-time assessment of the credit standing of overseas buyers. Geographical instability, economic downturn, war and terrorism have further hampered growth of world trade. In spite of these global headwinds, our economy is performing reasonably well, with GDP growth rising to 7.6% in 2015-16 from 7.2% in the previous year. We are already ahead of the rest of the major economic powers. A normal monsoon this year is expected to provide fillip to this year's growth, unlike the last two previous years, when below normal rains created an agrarian crisis and caused much rural distress. Our external sector remains steady while we are committed to prudent fiscal consolidation. This augurs well for our macroeconomy, but we must remain cautious on the trend of food prices. Weak global demand has impacted adversely on our exports, as reflected by a fall of 2.1% in the first quarter of 2016-17. However, at the same time, imports have declined sharply by 11.5% over the period. A lower trade deficit has helped in reducing the current account deficit to 0.1% of GDP in the first quarter of 2016-17 from 1.2% in the corresponding quarter of the last year. Reviving exports in a scenario of sluggish demand worldwide will remain a serious challenge to us. We must overcome by improving competitiveness of the domestic industry through better infrastructure and regulations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this context, the role of an export credit agency is of central importance in international trade and investment flows. These institutions are, in a manner of speaking, akin to policy instruments at the disposal of the sovereign to ensure adequate and timely support to national exports by way of extending credit, insurance, and guarantee. They develop the platform upon which exporters and bankers sustain existing markets in addition to exploring new markets. Absence of an ECA adds to the underlying political, economic, and financial uncertainty. ECAs offer more than just trade credit insurance. Their role in an economy is multifaceted, with protection against risks, enabling access to bank finance, information, and expertise in trade finance. Asia contributes 1/3 of the global manufactured trade, but 22% of the trade credit insurance.
Well, that was the President of India there speaking at the Diamond Jubilee celebrations of the ECGC.